Hey friends, welcome to Flight Test and welcome to the Flight Fest 2023 recap. Now, if you don't know what Flight Fest is basically the world's largest electric flying event. Started back in 2014, and since then, it has become an amazing experience for people to be able to not only bring their airplanes, but also bring their families and those they love, build, fly, crash, and do it all over and over again for 4 days. Now, every Flight Fest we have oftentimes takes on its own unique theme, and that's really not discovered until the very end. Our dear friend Peter Schriepel had a crazy idea to make the world's longest RC flying airplane. And using a good portion of the build tent, a lot of foam, and some great people to help him, he pulled that off beautifully. He added multiple wings on this, and when it took flight, it looked a lot like a centipede in the sky. Now, something that's become quite popular in the past few years is what we love to call the monster gaggle. And this year was incredible. We had our good friend Ben Harbour bring out his Monster C-47. We had Lincoln bring out his 18-foot, 555% scale Simple Cub. We had Craig from Horizon Hobby bring out his awesome guinea pig. This thing was a work of art and flew incredible. And of course, we had Meglacy and many other aircraft along with it. The Monster Gaggle is an amazing experience because all these airplanes were built out of common, simple, everyday materials. They all flew wonderful, and the crowd loved it. Now, you can't say Flight Fest without one word, and that's combat. And this year's combat was the largest and most epic combats we've ever had in the history of Flight Fest. We had hundreds of pilots lining up, and they actually lined up past the build tents, which has never happened before. We had everything from nutballs to FT flyers, to carbon cubs, to crazy beautiful creations that were built by our community and by many different kids inside the build tents. Combat is an amazing way to go through the cycle of building, flying, crashing, and then repairing. People not only have a lot of fun doing it, but they also learn a lot along the way. One thing our team is continually humbled by is the amazing young minds and the innovation that they bring. I'm excited about the future of flight because these young men and women bring up so much innovation and they make it become a reality, either whether they're bringing the models there or building it right in the build tent. A couple things that really made my jaw drop was Joshua and his swing wing aircraft. This amphibious aircraft was absolutely a ball to look at, but it also flew amazingly well. It could take off of land or water, had differential thrust, and the swing wings worked perfectly. We absolutely loved watching this thing fly through the air, do flat spins, and also retract the wings in midair and fall out of the sky like a dart. This aircraft was as much fun to drive on the ground as it was to fly. We're excited to work with Joshua even more and hopefully have this idea revisited on some of our content in the future. Now, there was a certain young man that was out on the flight line nonstop through the whole entire event with something called a Regalo wing. This young man has continually come back to Flight Fest year after year and upsized this Regalo wing. This year, he built the biggest one I've ever seen, and it flew incredible. He could simply walk out into the flight line and fly this monstrous creation about at a walking speed. This simple but beautiful aircraft brought so much attention and made everybody smile. One thing that makes Flight Fest so special is people don't just simply bring their aircraft and then fly them and then go home sad if they crash. Flight Fest has 60-foot by 180-foot tents located in 2 different positions on the grounds. These build tents are an incredible hub of activity where people innovate, they design their own aircraft, they build a kit from our store, or they do those well-needed repairs between crashes and combats. It's impossible to walk through these tents without being inspired and touched by all the amazing activities going around. A lot of times when people are working around these tables, they quickly become friends and then they call each other neighbors, which is truly what we want to see at Flight Fest. And this year, Vans Aircraft was our presenting sponsor. Our good friend Greg Hughes, who you've probably seen in some previous content, brought out an RV-12IS, the exact same aircraft that we're going to be building and taking you on the journey here at Flight Fest HQ. And this airplane wasn't just to walk around and look at. Greg spent a tremendous amount of time with the community members and so many different kids, having them sit in the aircraft, experience it, answering questions, and getting everyone inspired. As I mentioned before, we are going to be building one of these RV-12ISs as well. And we want to show each and every one of you that if you can build a model aircraft, you can build an aircraft that you can someday fly in with your friends and family. And along with Greg bringing down this incredible RV-12IS, we also debuted the newest release that Dave Jester designed, and that's the FT RV-12. This aircraft flies like a dream, and Dave put a lot of heart to not only make sure it looked like the RV-12IS, but also had the same flight characteristics, was gentle, nimble, and incredibly maneuverable and smooth. This new kit was the #1 kit that people were building and flying at Flite Fest. Our goal for bringing out the FT-RV-12 was so people had the opportunity to be able to build a model version of what they're going to be seeing us build right here at FTHQ and eventually flying. One of our goals of Flite Test is for people to dream big and do big, and getting the opportunity to build this aircraft is truly an honor and very humbling. Along with that, we also want people to make their passion their profession, and we already have different community members working at Vans Aircraft, and there's many more openings available. And if you guys haven't already hit that subscribe bell, make sure you do so, because we want to be able to bring you along this journey with building and flying the Vans RV-12IS. Another thing that you can see at every year's Flite Fest that we are so proud of and so excited about is our STEM tent. Now, our FT STEM tent was a place for both teachers to learn about bringing flight into schools, and also for students and families to be able to experience what FT STEM and aviation-based curriculum is like. Now in the FT STEM tent, people are building the FT Easy series, which is our #1 curriculum and #1 product to go into schools. These Easy series airplanes even have their own flying area, so whether people just came off the streets or whether they're students or teachers, they had their own unique area to fly, which gave them the ability to learn about flight, build, fly, and also have a safe place to experience it. And because of the FT STEM tent, we were able to get over 250 new pilots created, whether they were kids, teachers, adults, and parents. We even had many of these Flite Test students that have now graduated and gone on to college bring in their amazing projects to demonstrate. One of the ones that really was inspirational was the Compassion plane. This all-carbon airplane was designed by students and people that came from Flite Test and are now in college developing amazing platforms. One thing we're really excited for in the future is now that these kids have grown up through Flite Test, now that they're in college and developing amazing ideas, we want to give them the opportunity to be able to bring their projects to Flite Test and fascinate the next generation of pilots and builders. From our very first Flite Fest event back in 2014 all the way up to this one, there's no way that this event would be possible without our amazing volunteers. Every year we have over 100 different volunteers come from all walks of life and all over the country and even the world to donate their time to serve others. This involves people helping each other out in the build tents, helping new pilots that made in the aircraft for the first time, buddy boxing, helping vehicles and campers find a parking spot, and being a friendly, welcoming face wherever you go. Every year we are humbled by these people that give up their time to be able to serve others. These volunteers are truly a treasure to us, and from our FT family and our FT community to you guys, thank you so much. Now, Flite Fest 2023 marks the 9th year that we've been doing Flite Fest. Next year, obviously, is the Big 10. And thanks to you guys making this the best and largest event we've ever experienced, we cannot wait to ring in our 10th year of doing Flite Fest in a very special way. And whether you've been part of Flite Fest for many years or you're planning on coming for the first time next year, we're planning on making our 10th year the best and the biggest and most unique one that we ever have had before. And if you guys are excited about more information about this year, but also for next year and our plans, make sure you subscribe to our newsletter and hit the subscribe bell here so you can catch every video. And if you'd like to join the many of other amazing people that have a heart to serve and become a volunteer, I promise you it's an experience you will not forget. Now, there is no way that we can cover all the incredible things that happen at every year's Flite Fest, especially this year. But the good news is you can see a ton of other videos on our Flite Test Life channel, and you can get access to all that through our brand new app. Our app is free to download, available on Apple and Android, and the best part is you get everything Flite Test right at the palm of your hands. Now, if you got to attend Flite Fest but you didn't get your favorite t-shirt or mug, don't worry, we do have limited supplies, but those are now available on our store.